Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
I have this morning some great words of wisdom, especially at this time of the year. You can tell a lot about a woman's mood just by her hands. Yep, just by looking at her hands. If they're holding a gun, she's probably really teed off. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America, followed by a patriot. Come on, patriots. Call in with the Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning. Oh, I love that lady. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And right now, Merry Christmas. I love ringing that bell at this time of the year. And welcome to Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell. And, of course, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with our dear friends and one of our advertisers, Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them, get on the route service today, 734-6969. Let's check over with Wheels at our studio and see if we've got a Pledge of Allegiance person.
I would be honored to do it, sir, this morning.
You know, and that being honored, why, it behooves you, doesn't it?
Yes, sir, it does, and I'll be honest, I love doing it, but hold on, there's the caller.
Oh, take that call real fast. Okay, here we go. All right, let's see if that caller wants to do the pledge. Good morning, you're on the air.
It was just a dial tone. I don't know if they must have hung up.
All right, well, let's not worry about it. Let's go right on into the Pledge of Allegiance. Go ahead.
All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well done, buddy. Hey, good job. And right now it's time for the weather. I wished it would warm up a little bit. This global warming is becoming obnoxious. So is Al Gore and President Obama. Anyway, Cheney Flooring and Home Design at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Oh my goodness, all your carpet and flooring. And get a gift certificate card for your lovely spouse for maybe carpet and new flooring. Oh, she's going to love you. And all the kitchen construction and the home decor items, whatever you need to make your house a home. Yep, at Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Here now is Gina with the weather.
Looks like foggy for this morning. Afternoon sunshine. Winds out of the west right around 5 miles an hour. And yes, it's going to be cold. High of 20. Tonight low of 4. Tomorrow mostly sunny and 24. And partly cloudy and 33 for Wednesday. That's your weather for 7th Ranch.
I appreciate it, Gina. Boy, that was short and sweet. And good weather forecast. I hope it starts to warm up. Brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design. 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Yes, sirree. Look for the blue door. Really nice people. What have we got on tap for this morning? Well, I'll tell you, at 9:06, we're going to be talking to the Cassia County Sheriff, Jay Heward. We've been wanting to get him on the program for a long time. And then at 9:30, Kerry Kupek with the Alliance Defending Freedom. 10:15, Minidoka Memorial Hospital. The new CEO is going to introduce himself, Tom Murphy. And then at 10:32, we're going to have Cassia County School Superintendent Galen Smyers. So that's what we're having for this morning. By the way, too, don't forget Daryl's Cleaners. at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Here you are. You just finished Thanksgiving. And Aunt Martha and Uncle Fred and Grandma Lizzie, they made a mess of cranberry strains, gravy stains, everything on the tablecloth. So take it in there, because Christmas is right around the corner. Get all those things cleaned up again for the go-round number 2, Christmas dinner. They can clean anything at Darrow's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. You stop in and see my friends Kevin and Cindy today. I also want to urge you, and I mean this, to get a hold of SafeLink Internet at the number 677-8000, and you get your first month free. Now, this offer is going to be ending soon. I don't think it's going to be in place much longer, so you better get a hold of them. And free installation also, no credit checks, no contract options, unlimited data. You call, because for over 18 years, they've been Idaho's number 1 choice for wireless Internet. SafeLink Internet, serving you. Okay. Let's see, what else have we got here? Before we get into the swing of things here this morning, I want to remind you again, I had a couple of calls this weekend about Denny's Old-Fashioned Merry Christmas. We are going to really have a fun time at Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley, on December the 16th. That's coming up in just 16 days. Woo! Right around the corner. And I'll be broadcasting live and direct right from there. We'll be doing our whole program over there. There's going to be carolers, thanks to the Burley High School Choir, and door prizes, Santa Claus. And I'll tell you what, Santa called me this morning from the North Pole, and he says he's really excited about it. And also Loot in the Boot to help needy families at Christmas time. So don't forget that. Denny's Restaurant, you can stop in anytime, all the time, at 611 Overland in Burley for the best in eating breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And also their other location in Twin Falls at 291 Pole Line in Twin. Denny's Restaurant, it is good. I'll guarantee it. A couple of things. I just wanted to say congratulations to a team that I don't particularly care for, and but you got to hand it to them with a brand spanking new quarterback. This guy, very, very limited, if any, NFL experience, and Osweiler for the Denver Broncos upset the unbeaten New England Patriots last night. Whoa! I mean, I didn't think there was a snowball's chance in the oven that would happen, and there was quite a bit of snow last night, too. But they beat them. Good for them in overtime. So congratulations and kudos to the Denver Broncos defeating the New England Patriots last night in overtime. Absolutely don't like the Patriots at all. Good going, Denver Broncos. You did what my Packers could not do. 25 shopping days left till Christmas, and holy smokes, that means that I've got to make a preparation to try to figure out how to get into the various stores and go up one aisle and down the other, up one aisle and down the other, and it repeats itself over and over again, trying to get ideas from my lovely bride and others. So it's that time of year. Merry Christmas, I'll tell you what. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Want to remind you, too, about Ramsey Heating and Electric. Oh, it has been cold. Oh, I told you for weeks and weeks to get those furnace filters. Oh, man. You turn that furnace on, you want to have some results in this kind of weather. It's been cold. What is it, 5 degrees right now? Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. All your heating and electrical needs, and of course, don't forget the furnace filters. Yeah, buddy, they got them all. At 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, they throw the doors open. Well, not open, but they unlock them at 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday. Stop in where they provide warm winters and cool summers, and that's Ramsey Heating and Electric. We're going to get into our subject here in a minute, and I really want your calls. Don't you dare weaken on me this morning, audience. You are fantastic, and I appreciate it. While I'm waiting, I want to remind you, too, about the Book Plaza with Colonel Dale. That is one of the nicest people that I've ever had the chance to visit with and have on my program. The Book Plaza at 222 West 11th Street, in Burley, and they've got all your books. I mean, if there's books you're looking for, you better get on in there. Thousands and thousands and thousands of books and gifts and jewelry. Oh, please stop in. They wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas at the Book Plaza, 222 West 11th Street in Burley. Very, very nice people. All right, callers, get on the phone. Give me a jingle on the landline, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. A crazed and demented soul went on a shooting spree last weekend in Colorado Springs, and I have many, many, many friends in Colorado Springs. It's also the headquarters for the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association. And you know what? Now the left, I think this is so sleazy, that the left, headed up with the likes of Debbie Wasserman Schultz and others, are blaming conservatives like me and others for that shooting. Because we believe in life. We don't believe in abortion. We do not believe in killing babies. We do not believe in the study of the body parts and the twisted and torn way that this was being run. But we're getting the blame. Debbie Wasserman Schultz came out and said basically that we that don't agree with Planned Parenthood, and we that absolutely would like to see Planned Parenthood shut down and not funded by the government, are terrorists. And many of the dim, not-so-bright Democrats on TV are now saying that the GOP is responsible for that shooting. Let me stop right there and say this. Do you really honestly know what compelled that man to go and shoot up Colorado Springs, in particular that area, and very finite right there at the Planned Parenthood? No, you don't. There is not a clear-cut motive. There is not anything that has really been established as motive or reason for the attack. Not yet. So why does the left come out and absolutely demonize, criticize, and turn all the fault on those of us that, and I'm going to say I'm at the top of the list, I am not a Planned Parenthood supporter. I don't believe in what they do. I don't want to see them open, to be honest with you. But that is not at all or any way, shape, or form giving a reason for some mentally deficient person to pick up a gun and kill people and shoot people and injure people. Your thoughts on this? Give me a call at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Please give me a call. I'd appreciate it. Merry Christmas wishes right now from Butte Irrigation, 116 South, 600 West of Paul on Kimberly Road. Your Zomatic dealer. They will get you wet, and they say Merry Christmas to you. Along with Burley Glass, 1029 Overland in Burley. Huge thank you for all the support to the community for making their business very successful. Merry Christmas from Ben and the crew. Senator Kelly Anthon would like to wish all the good people of Mini-Cache area very Merry Christmas, and thanks to all who supported him. And Representative and Speaker of the House Scott Bedke wishes all of his constituents a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So thank you very much. Merry Christmas. I got a little worried last week about the lack of telephone calls that we had. I know we were going into Thanksgiving weekend, and I know that there were a lot of people that had much more trying and more serious times to take care of, possibly with getting the family there and making sure that the dinner was ready, and a lot of them didn't call. But now that the Thanksgiving holiday is over, give me a jingle on the landline at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I have a how come question in a few minutes, but right now let's take this call. Good morning, caller. Thank you for your calling this morning.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
You know, this Planned Parenthood, I'm glad we don't have one in Burley, because let's be honest with one another in thinking, if this happened in our area, do those thoughts go through our mind that somebody should take care of this, get it wiped off of the face of the earth, because it is an evil thing? But none of us are crazy enough to do something like that. I know it's wrong, but my gosh, it's something that people think a lot about.
Yeah, but Keith, wait a minute. Keith.
You know, it's stupidity of climate change and stuff like that, that we don't do anything about it, but some of these people actually do.
Keith, right now, hang on just a second. A lot of people in this country, and they are on the left, the first chance they get to pick the football up and run with it and try to score points against conservatism and against Christianity, they're going to do it. And I have never been, ever on this program, an advocate of Planned Parenthood. I've done all I could to see that it possibly would get shut down and would not get funding. But that is not to say that because of my feelings, I have an advocacy for some kook to pick up a gun and shoot people.
No, I have no sympathy for someone like that. It's wrong and everything else, but don't we get the feeling sometimes somebody's got to do something about this, and then when somebody does do something about it, they're still wrong.
Well, yeah, but this man, we don't even know the motives. Now, let's be really fair to this situation. We don't know the motives, and we don't know the reason. And people are going off half-cocked on this issue, and they're making charges, and they're pointing fingers. That's wrong, Keith. That's speculation, and I don't do that on this program.
Well, that's true. But, you know, the news media is the worst culprit, because
that's true.
This gives those people an audience one day in the sun, you know, and that's all they live for. They really don't care, but they want to be noticed.
Well, I don't know, again, too much about this person, this Robert Deere, I think his name was. Sounds like he was a hermit. Sounds like he was completely away from society. It sounds like he had some mental stability problems. But there again, it's all speculation until we find out all the truth about why and how. And for the left to go in and start demonizing the Republican candidates, demonizing the GOP, and calling us that don't like or support Planned Parenthood terrorists, that's completely wrong.
One of the big problems is what's it going to cost to support this guy for as long as he lives, because he will not get a death penalty. I'll almost guarantee you that he is going to be able to live his life out in prison, which probably a better condition than he's used to.
Yeah, that could be very true. Again, I don't want to speculate, and I won't. Keith, God bless you, and always good to hear from you. Thank you, sir.
You bet.
All right, sir. God bless. No speculation here. It's only the facts. And right now I want to give you some of the facts. And I want some more calls. Keith broke the ice. Let's make sure we step right in. Minnecasia Sales with Zach and the crew at 1321 East Main Street in Burley. Every Tuesday they bring you Dr. History. I can't believe it. We are now being listened to on that program segment in over 110 countries. You you talk about exposure for our sponsors, woohoo! Mini-Cash Sales, and they've got all your lumber, they've got all your windows, they've got all your Tartar Farm and Ranch gates and panels. They got everything. And I'll tell you what, you just stop over and see Zach today, or give him a call, 878-2091. Mini-Cash Sales bringing you Dr. History on Tuesdays at 10:06. While I'm waiting for your call, I also want to remind you about Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Oh, I cannot wait to get back in there. I cannot wait for the physical therapist to start working on this hip. I'm telling you, that son of a gun. There were other words I wanted to say. That doggone hip is driving me nuts. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, they can help at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. All the top-notch physical therapists and all the sports medicine, all the exercises, and the hydrotherapy pool with the treadmill, they can help you get back to being you. Call them today at 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. How are you today?
How is my favorite, shy, very retiring flower?
I love you, too.
Okay.
What I want to know is, I don't know how many times we have contacted our representatives back in Washington, D.C. And you know what? We get back a form letter having nothing to do with the subject matter that we have written or called about.
I understand. I understand your pain on that. And Helen, here's what I'm going to be doing. I am probably going to try to get these letters out this week to all of our representatives, all of them, our senators and our congressmen. And I'm going to tell them from me and my program that they better start addressing their constituents' concerns, not with form letters, but with responses that really mean something and have some merit. And I personally am going to do that for you and all of my listeners, because I'm going to let them know, and one in particular, I'll just come right out and say it, Mike Simpson. Mike has not called this program because he's had a mad on for me because of the Muslim situation for the last 2 years. That's not the way to run a railroad, and it's not the way to be a congressional representative. He's got to talk to his constituents, and I find that repulsive.
How, on the face of this green earth, did he get back in office? I cannot, for the life of me, even if we had put Stallings in, at least he would listen.
Well, I'm going to make an attack on them. Now, I will say this, and I'm going to sound prejudiced when I say this, Helen. Please understand. I personally have had really good luck, very good luck, with Crapo's office. And then I haven't had such good luck from that point on. So I don't know if it's just because I know Mike better and he knows me. I've had limited success with Risch and Labrador and no success with Simpson. And they've got to talk to you, the constituents. They have every obligation to come onto this program and let you know what's going on.
Well, if what they say is true, that would be really great.
All right. Helen, I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Did you?
Oh, we did.
All right, good.
Did you?
Yeah, absolutely, except for the snow and the cold and the slippery. And, you know, a guy like me on crutches with a bad knee and a bad hip and a shoulder that's broken also, I ain't looking forward to making an angel snow.
We have missionaries that live just a couple of houses from us. One of them's from Arizona, and he had never seen snow.
Oh, my. What a treat, huh?
And it's been quite funny to watch.
All right. God bless you, Helen. Thank you.
Have a good day.
All right. Thank you. I love that lady. She is something special. Hey, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids, and you need to get in for a hearing screening today. I know the grandkids are going to be There's two ways to look at this, I guess, and I think Christine will understand. She's got a good sense of humor. With all the kids coming over at Christmas time, oh boy, maybe you might want to turn the hearing aids off. But anyway, if you're having trouble hearing, honestly hearing, you could have a number of reasons that are causing it. It might be a medicine problem. It might be a health problem. It could be any number of things. So I urge you to get a hold of her today at 312-0957, located right across from the Minidoka Memorial Emergency Hospital room. And the number to call for an appointment is 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Okay, it's that time of the day. It's that time on a Monday. We're going to give away a half dozen delicious, gooey, juicy, oh man, fantabulous cinnamon rolls from Sophie's Chatterbox at 530 East Street in Rupert. I don't know why I said 4. But anyway, now here's the deal. It's for first-time winners only. And if you win, all you have to do is call over to Sophie's Chatterbox and let them know when you're going to be in there to pick up those cinnamon rolls, okay? Here's the number, 436-0354. Now, here's the question. This is an easy one. This really is an easy one. Before he became a top-flight comedian, Bob Hope also was a what? Before he was a top-flight comedian and at the top of his trade, Bob Hope was a what? Give me a call at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, give me a call real fast. Come on. First-time winners only. Before he was a comedian, Bob Hope also was a what? Give me a call. Come on, hurry. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle on the landline. While I am waiting for your call that I'm sure is coming in, I also want to remind you about Four Paws Bed and Bath. Oh, my goodness, I'll tell you what. Deanne, if you could come in here for a few minutes, I'd sure appreciate it. They're going to be having their annual Christmas open house on Saturday, December 12th from 12 to 3 p.m., and they're going to have all kinds of goodies over there. All you have to do is just take your doggy and kitty over there, a chance to spin the wheel and win many valuable prizes, and it's all free. Huge selection of Christmas gifts, Christmas apparel, collars, leashes, all for your dogs and kitty cats. They got it all right there at Four Paws Bed and Bath. And the number to give them a call, 438-4444. Four Paws Bed and Bath. Really nice people. Huge Christmas party coming up at Four Paws. All right, caller, good morning. You're on the air. What's your answer? Hello, caller. Talk to me. Well, Wheels, what'd you do? You cut him off, my goodness sakes.
I don't know.
Oh.
That kind of saggins me. I must be a repellent this morning.
You must be a repellent? Okay. Oh, my. Call back. We haven't had a winner before he was a comedian. This is an easy one, I thought. I thought it'd be gone in a heartbeat. Before he was a comedian, Bob Hope also was a what? Give me the answer to that question, and you'll win a half dozen delicious cinnamon rolls from Sophie's Chatterbox. Come on, hurry, give me a call. I can't go on with this too much longer, or we're going to have to give him the Wheels. He needs a half dozen cinnamon rolls. Don't forget Barry Equipment and Rental. They have the equipment to get the job done right. All you have to do is just remember their 3 locations: Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, South Lincoln in Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. And don't forget their store hours are Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 5:30, Saturdays 8 to 5, and of course closed on Sunday. They have excuse me. This cough will not leave me alone. They've got all the equipment to get the job done right, including all the Bobcat skid steer loaders and all the Doosan loaders, Coyote tractors. They've got it all. Just drive by and you'll see they've got it all at Berry Equipment and Rentals. So stop in and see them today. Twin Falls, Jerome, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Stop in there today. Good folks, really good folks. What in the world? That was the easiest question I think I've asked on the program for those cinnamon rolls. First-time callers, come on now. I want to call right this minute. Before he was a top-flight comedian, Bob Hope was also a what? What else did he do? He did something else. Give me a call at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I thought that would be a piece of cake this morning. While I'm waiting for your call, think about that. Come on now. What do you think he did? I hate to give a clue because that's going to give it away. But I will give a clue. And maybe somebody can call 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Aha. Here comes a caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Oh, was he a radio announcer?
No. I had to laugh. No, but that's not even close, honestly. I thought that you would get that in a heartbeat, but that's not the right answer. Think about it and give me a call back, okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. No, Bob Hope was a what? Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Bell.
Yes.
He was a veteran.
No. I hate to tell you no, but I'll give a little clue to the next caller, but Donna, sorry, that's not right.
Oh, darn.
Oh, darn. Whenever you go with that pause after oh like that, you scare me to death, lady. All right, calls are welcome. Before he was a comedian, Bob Hope was also a what? Go ahead, caller. You're on the air. Talk to me, caller. Come on.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, I can barely hear you.
I know. We thought we had this.
He was an athlete. He was a football player.
That's not what I'm looking for this morning, and that's not the right answer, but I do appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
I can barely hear you.
I know. We've had that problem.
Hang up and call again another time.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. God bless you. Thank you. I don't know what's the matter with it. We've been having that equipment problem, and it's just not getting any better. Good morning. You're on the air.
Well, he entertained a lot of the troops. He was an entertainer.
Yep, but this was after. I mean, Bob Hope with his tour and Bob Hope on the road, that was all after a while and a fashion from what he used to do before he became an entertainer. And I'm going to give a clue in a minute, and I'm going to have you hang up, and if you can figure it out, then call me back, okay? All right. Just think, well, here comes another call. Let's see if this caller gets it. Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning. I will take a wild guess. Was he a shoe salesman?
No, he wasn't, but I do appreciate that. Thank you so much for your call. God bless you. Have a Merry Christmas. Thank you. All right, just think about this clue. Think about the shape of his nose. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
My wife said he was a violinist.
No. And believe me, his nose would have gotten away. But anyway, thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's not right. Thank you. All right. I like that one. Think about Bob Hope's nose. And that should give you the clue as to what he was and did before he was a top-notch comedian. Oh, my goodness, I can't believe that. Come on, somebody. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, sir. Well, you're talking about his nose. He must have been a clown.
No! Oh, my goodness sakes. Thank you very much for your try. We've had everything from a clown to a violinist. Can you imagine with that nose being a violinist? Whoop, man, that's a good way to wreck your nose. Anyway, give us a call, 436-2244-186. I can't spend a lot of time on this anymore, folks. I got other things I have to get into. But just think about his nose and think about what might have caused that nose. Boy, I'm giving you a clue. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Okay, I didn't hear your last clue, but, well, with that nose, he must have been a skier.
Oh, no. I'm getting all the answers. Oh, God bless you. Thank you very much for the call. That's not the right answer. Thank you. Oh, my goodness. Bob Hope. I love that guy. He was so fantastic. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead.
My wife says he wasn't a violinist. He must have been a skier.
Nope, we just had that answer. No, it's not a skier. Thank you. Sorry. I have never in my life asked a question on this program and had this many wrong answers. Think about the nose. Just think about the nose and what might have caused the shape of that nose. Good morning, you're on the air.
Well, he must have been a boxer.
Oh, who are you?
This is Dorothy.
Dorothy Silcox. Have you ever won the donuts before?
No.
All right, well, you have now. God bless you.
You're kidding me.
He was a boxer.
Okay.
All right. And that nose didn't get to looking like that from birth, I'll tell you that. Bob Hope was also a boxer. Dorothy Silcock, thank you so much for winning the contest. And call over there and they'll get your cinnamon rolls ready for you, okay?
That's Sophie's what?
Sophie's Chatterbox over on the square in Rupert.
Okay, I'll find it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Woo, I'm tired. I just got to sit back for a minute and just kind of relax. Holy smokes, I didn't think I'd ever get skier, violinist, and the clown. And those were some good answers, though. I appreciate that. Oh, my goodness sakes. He needed a nose job, but it made him a lot of money, I'll tell you that. Hey, speaking of getting something fixed, I want to talk to you a little bit about my friends at Snake River Auto Body Incorporated. Hello, Dan and the rest of the crew at Snake River Auto Body. They did a phenomenal job on my pickup. Somebody decided they didn't like the quarter panel looking nice, so they just backed into it. And so they did a wonderful job at Snake River Auto Body, and I'll tell you what, satisfaction guaranteed. They're open from 7 in the morning to 6 p.m. and 8 to 1 on Saturdays, and they're in the Old Town location with Old Town values in Twin Falls at 404 4th Avenue West in Twin Falls, and believe me, the best of quality workmanship. Snake River Auto Body, and the number to call, 734-5790. There you go. We've got to watch out, folks, because Obama is over in Paris. And all I'm going to say this morning is hold on to your billfold. Hold on to your freedoms that are still left. And Obama is in Paris speaking this morning on our commitment to climate change. Our commitment to climate change. You know, I've done a lot of research over the weekend, and I have story after story after story of various scientists from around the world, including a German professor, that has confirmed what skeptics from Britain to the United States have long suspected, that NASA's Goddard Institute of Space Studies has largely invented global warming by tampering with the raw temperature data records. And as a matter of fact, we are getting much, much cooler. Now, you can look outside right now and you can say to yourself, global warming, are they kidding us? At 5 degrees right now? And the entire United States is wrapped and enveloped in a cold blanket, especially back in the Midwest. where many people have died this past weekend because of the cold? Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes.
I have a naive question to ask. Are there other countries that have done anything as far as emissions and trying to do something for the global situation other than America?
No.
We've always been the hardest hit, but you hear, I've not been to China, but I've known people that have gone, and other countries, and they talk about the pollution so bad as far as in their cities and the smog and whatnot. Is that correct? Are there other countries that are doing anything?
Here's the laughable part of what you just said. I'm not laughing at you by any means. You bring up a very good question. But here's what's so laughable. These other countries are looking to us, the United States taxpayers, to get into our pocket for $3 billion. That's with a B, my dear lady. And these are countries that are lesser countries that want to take that money and they want to formulate a green energy program. But, nobody knows who's going to be holding the purse strings. Nobody knows where the money's going to be going. Nobody knows what's going to be happening with that money. China and India are laughing at this situation. Russia is laughing at this situation. And we're the only ones going over there to talk to 150 leaders at a climate change summit. And at the same time, ISIS and Al-Qaeda are spreading like a cancer trying to kill us. And 150 leaders would be better served trying to stop and kill ISIS instead of trying to work on climate change.
Oh, I agree. I saw a lady that used to be Muslim, and she just let fly about the fact that she hates the fact that she and others are called racist because they have such a stance against being a Muslim. And she said, it is not a race. It is not. It's a choice. It is, a religion. It's not a race. You are not. There are people that want to choose to come in and kill everybody. And she said people just don't understand. And she was going on and on.
Well, there's another point. There's another point, my dear lady. It's a so-called religion, but it's also a very dangerous ideology.
Oh, it's nobody even understands. They talk about people that are being, kind and they're this and they're that and the other. Well, they might be, but they've signed on the dotted line to something they don't understand if that's the case.
Yeah.
Because it's not, there's nothing kind about it.
Well, they
don't know anything about the leader of that sect because he was horrible.
Yeah. Let me ask you one quick question. I got to get the weather on here, but I want to get your response and then take some more calls. Do you and your family, in any way, shape, or form, have any allegiance to climate change and global warming? Do you believe in it, or do you think, like most of us with sane minds, think it's nothing more than a great way for governments to get more control of the people?
I definitely do not believe in the process that they're talking about climate change. Have we seen a change in our weather? Absolutely. When I grew up in Paul, Idaho, we had snow, a lot of snow. It's different. We never had days clear into November and December that were nice and sunny and warm. Yep, there's been a change. But do I believe that there's the stuff that they're talking about? No, I don't. I don't believe. I can't get on board with it.
Well, I think
there's going to be a global warming, but it's going to be when this Earth is destroyed by fire.
Well, and
I don't think there's going to be anything else before then.
That could very, very well come true. Thank you so much, and God's blessings to you. Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Oh, my, I got to get the weather in here real quick. Don't forget Mad River Laser. Oh, they had fun on Saturday for Small Business Saturday. You can stop in right now. They've got all the gift shop over there at Mad River Laser, all kinds of home decor items for Christmas. I love it. And all the year-end awards for for your business. You know, the Crystal Awards, acrylic wood, plaques, trophies, everything right there at Mad River Laser. And when you talk to promoting your business, these folks over there can help you. I love this store. Mad River Laser at 502 East Street in Rupert. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Looks like foggy for this morning. Afternoon sunshine. Winds out of the west right around 5 miles an hour. And yes, it's going to be cold. High of 20. Tonight low of 4. Tomorrow mostly sunny and 24. And partly cloudy and 33 for Wednesday. That's your weather for 7th Ranch.
Oh, man, I tell you what, it's going to stay cold out there. Brought to you by Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert. Thank you, Nicole, and the entire crew. You know, the frozen tundra is here. It doesn't have to be in Green Bay. The frozen tundra is here. The world is getting cooler. And this man doesn't seem, Obama, doesn't seem to have the common sense that God gave a billy goat, that really he's pushing us into a climate change forum to where they're trying to lower the temperatures even more. Man-caused lowering of temperatures. I don't know about you folks, but I don't want to see any lower temperatures. I don't want to see agriculture decimated. I don't want to see people freezing in their homes. I don't want to see the elderly with a lack of income and on a specific budget trying to figure out whether they're going to buy their medicine or heat their homes or feed themselves. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. The only thing that's going to increase the temperature is the fact that the Bipartisan Budget Act, it's transferring money from the Social Security Act to beef up the Social Security Disability Fund.
Yeah, and
what's going to happen to Social Security?
It's not going to be here. It's going to be gone. It's going to be robbed until the stagecoach has the wheels fall off. It's absolutely ridiculous that our politicians and more of us aren't outraged and basically just pick up a pitchfork and storm Pennsylvania Avenue and tell these idiots to start working for us.
Well, you know, we've got so many people pouring into this country that don't belong here around that Disability Act.
Yeah.
That's one reason why it's going under. And that's just another big tax for you and I.
Well, you know, I'm just going to come right out and say it this morning. I've got broad shoulders. I can stand it. I don't want anybody here. I want a moratorium on incoming immigrants. I want definitely the borders closed. I would like to see them close down the numbers of people until we get this thing financially settled as to what it's going to cost, how we're going to pay for it, and everything else. This is ludicrous to have an open door policy to let anybody in when our own people are suffering.
Well, what's wrong with the governments in these foreign countries taking care of their own people instead of dumping them over here on the United States taxpayers?
Oh, that'd be a novel idea for, like, Mexico and other countries to take care of their own people. Gee, Tony, you should know better than that.
I know, I'm a rotten guy, but, you know, my thoughts are bad these days.
Yeah, I know. I am sick and tired of being the sponge that's going to accept everything and pick everything up. And we've got people here that absolutely need help, and we can't take care of them because our welfare programs are depleted and they want to bring in more. The left is crazy, and I'm going to keep preaching that.
Well, there's got to be a stop to these people coming in because they're going to destroy our economy, and the only thing we're going to have left is a two-class society, the rich and the poor, and that's it. That's where we're headed. I
couldn't agree more. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Tony. How's Mary doing?
Oh, she's doing fine. You know how those tough Tennesseans are. They never give in or give up.
All right. God bless you, man. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. Oh, my goodness. I'm never going to weaken on this subject. You know, we're talking about a administration that has 416 days left to hurt us, damage us, and cost us a lot more money. And this Obama deal, and he's going to go behind closed doors with all these world leaders, and he's going to promise lesser countries $3 billion. Where do you think the money's going to come from? Oh, yeah, that's right, you and me. And I am so sick and tired of this man skirting Congress. I hope that the doggone Republicans show some backbone. Man, it'd be nice if they sat down and had a big old T-bone steak tonight and said, enough is enough. We're going to fight Obama on this, and we're going to make sure it's done right. I don't think it's going to happen. 150 world leaders. 150 world leaders are over in Paris, France, talking about climate change and global warming, when all 150 leaders of those various countries should be doing nothing more than sitting there and trying to figure out how to kill, squash, and eliminate ISIS and Al-Qaeda. But they're talking about global warming. How dumb is that? Don't forget your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, my goodness, traction ready. I am so glad that I was in there a long time ago and talked to those guys about traction ready tires for my pick-em-up truck. Woo, baby, yes, sir. They've got all the studded tires. They got all the snow wheels. They've got all the tires that you need to get through the mud, the ice, the snow, etc. And the tire chains, my goodness sakes. And the very best in brake service. I'm telling you what, folks, they really know. And, of course, front end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries. Boy, with these colder temperatures, make sure you've got a battery that's going to turn that old engine over and get you to work. You stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Caller, I got 1.5 minutes left. Go real fast.
You got it, sir. Yeah, in 1971, I think it was, or 77, I think it was Newsweek or something like that, posted a deal with the penguin. We're coming into an ice age.
Yep.
And then they come out in, 2000-something, that New York was going to be 25 feet underwater by 2015. Yeah. So, and also, how big of a carbon footprint did all these world leaders put out there? How much CO2 emissions they put out going to this conference to talk about CO2 emissions?
And really, this meeting is such a ridiculous, phony meeting. Right now, I'm more concerned about some creep, some absolute cretin, picking up a gun or a knife and killing people on behalf of ISIS and Al-Qaeda, and they're talking about climate change. These people ought to all be put in jail.
I heard you. I hear you. So, anyway, God bless, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, too. Thank you, my dear friend. Oh, I love saying that. Merry Christmas. It's going to be that way for the next 25 days. Right now, we got to go to the news from CBS. I'll be back in 6. Don't go away. And you're listening to Zeb at the Ranch. Make sure you're hearing everything. Contact Mount Harrison Audiology for a hearing screening. Call 312-0957. Wheels, take it away. Brr, it's cold out there this morning. Holy smokes. It is still hanging in there. I got 6 degrees here right now. Good morning, everybody. Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you. And also some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always assured to struggle. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and mystery land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
I've had a lot of fun working with these folks over the years, doing the voiceover on some of their commercials and everything. They are excellent, always at your disposal. Don't forget they've got all the dumpsters, and they've got all the porta potties, and they've got the carts and the roll-offs. They've got everything for you. Locally owned and operated Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. It's true. 734-6969. Wonderful people. By the way, we start every program in the morning morning at 8:06 with the weather forecast brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. And they got some great ideas for the holidays. Christmas coming up. They got super ideas. You better stop in there and see Kyle and Whitney and the whole crew at Cheney Flooring and Home Design in Burley. Another great business that I want to talk about right now, and they've been with us for a long, long time on this program, and it's Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. Boy, I'm just honored to have the best on our show. And Joel Heward, the manager, the staff, his family, all of them are there when you need them. And by the way, they'll also travel to rural towns and churches to help you with all the arrangements when there's the passing of a loved one, always with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. Write this number down, please, 436-5636, 436-5636, Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. Right now, we're going to go to the phone lines, and I appreciate this man taking a little time out of his schedule this morning to come on our program, but I think it's very, very important. And we say a good morning to the Cassia County Sheriff, Jay Heward. How are you this morning, sir?
I'm good, Zeb. Thank you.
Jay, I think we'll get right into the crux of what I wanted to talk about. This is my own opinion. You tell me if I'm wrong. Is this the most dangerous time of the year for theft and home invasions and crime in general?
I would say that during the holidays, seems like we have more crimes reported. So partially, I would agree with you.
Now, what's the biggest thing that we can do? I mean, everybody says, well, there's a lot we can do to avoid crime or try to stop crime. What are some of the things? Let's talk, first of all, about theft, burglaries. What can we do?
Well, some of the things you can do at home, if you're going to be out of town or gone, leave lights on. Don't post on Facebook that you're going to be going out of town or that you're going to be leaving. We've had some trouble with posts on Facebook, and then people have had a burglary. You leave lights on, you secure your doors, and that kind of thing. And as far as vehicles, make sure you lock your car and don't leave any packages out where people can see them and that kind of thing.
Well, right there, Jay, elaborate on that a little bit, because right now everybody's going Christmas shopping, and it's that time of the season. And they come out of the store and they've got a basket full of all the brightly colored paper and the bows and the ribbons and everything. And are people out there in those parking lots watching all this?
I would say that there could be. But I would tell the girls and the ladies, if you wheel a shopping cart out to your car, if you have children, the thing that you need to unload with your children is your purse first, your kids, before you unload your packages or your groceries. If you don't have kids, unload your purse for the girls and put it in the car, and then unload your groceries or your packages or whatever, because we've had situations where women have turned their back on a shopping cart and some buddy has run along and just grabbed the purse right out of the front of the shopping cart, and away they went with it. So.
Now, Jay, there's a lot of places that are open 24/7, 365, and a lot of folks are working different hours, and they go shopping at different hours. And they might be going out of the store maybe at midnight or 2 in the morning and walking out to their car. What kind of precautions should they take in that instance?
I would say when they arrive, if they can park under a light or as close to the front of the store as possible. And then when they're leaving, if they have a feeling that something's not quite right, or they look out and they may see persons hanging around in the parking lot that makes them feel uneasy, I would get somebody from the store, a clerk or security or something like that, to walk them out to their car.
You bring up a really good...
This time of year, stores have more clerks.
Yeah.
They have security officers, and they're on heightened awareness, so it should be somebody that could help out.
You really bring up a good point there. If the business wants my business, or if the business wants your business or anybody's, they should provide somewhat of a little safety valve, and I think that's an excellent idea about asking somebody that's at the checkout stand to walk out with you.
Yes, definitely. If you feel uneasy when you're getting ready to go to your car, definitely ask somebody from the store to walk with you. And you know what I also tell people, given this time of year where everybody's stacked in line paying for Christmas packages, I would tell people, if you're using your debit card, to be very, very careful that other people do not see you enter your PIN number. And if you look over, if you feel somebody breathing on your neck, and you look over your shoulder and it's obvious they're trying to look at your PIN number, just tell the clerk that you forgot your PIN, cancel out the transaction, and run it as credit. And that way you don't have to worry about entering a PIN number.
Now, Jay, there again, you bring up a really good point. And I had identity theft I went through about 5 or 6 years ago, and it's one of the most horrendous things I've ever been through. But what about, the case where you're going through the line and it's all hustle and bustle, and the checkers are trying to hurry up and get everybody out of there? You got to be really careful whether you're writing a check or whether you're paying cash or whether you're using a debit card or a credit card. How in the world can we make sure that that's going to be safe?
Well, it's tough. You just have to be aware of your surroundings and always just look around you and know where you are and what you're doing, and just have a heightened sense of awareness and be careful.
What about, Jay, and this is one thing I don't do. I don't carry a billfold anymore. But what about people, women with their purses, and you see a lot of them are strung over their back so that all somebody'd have to do is just go up and cut it real quick and take it, or guys with billfolds or whatever. What would you tell these people?
It's been my experience. I haven't, in my 35 years of experience, I haven't ever taken a report where somebody was, like they say, pickpocketed. For men to be pickpocketed, I imagine it does happen. I've never had it reported to me. And typically with women, when they have their purses over their backs, like you're talking, I've never had a situation where somebody's come along and cut the strap and run off with their purse. We have had instances, though, where women are pushing a shopping cart along, their purse is sitting, say, right where a child would sit. They turn the back on the shopping cart and the purse to get something off the shelf, and somebody walks by and lifts the purse out of the shopping cart. And so it drives my wife crazy, but I will sometimes use that little safety strap that's in where you would put a child, and I strap it over the top of her purse. At least if somebody's going to try to grab it, they can't just pick up and run off with it because it's strapped to the cart. Maybe being over careful, I don't know, but you got to do something to protect your stuff.
Oh, I agree with you. And here's a pet peeve of mine, and I know you've seen this, and I want you to elaborate on it. How many times have you seen mothers with the baby in the shopping cart, and they'll leave the baby and the purse, and they'll walk maybe 15, 20 feet or more away to go get an item? It only takes a split second, doesn't it?
It does only take a split second. I would suggest they don't do that.
Absolutely. Now, I have another question. Do we have to really be careful in this day and age? Maybe in the bigger city more so than here, I don't know. But you walk out of a store with a shopping cart full of all kinds of Christmas presents. You go to your car and you drive home, and you're not very aware or cognizant that maybe somebody's been following you. What about when we get home? What kind of precautions can we take?
It's like I said a little bit ago, just be aware of your surroundings, and when you get home, if you see a strange car or somebody that shouldn't be in your neighborhood or typically wouldn't, be in your driveway, stay in your vehicle and drive to the sheriff's office, or just call 911 from a cell phone if you have one. just be self-aware.
Okay. One of the things that really has bothered a lot of people in recent times, Jay, and I know when I talked to you the other day, I said I wanted to get into this. Why is there such an influx in home invasions? We're not even safe between the walls of our own home.
You know, this over here in the Burley area, Cassia County, we got hit pretty hard for a few weeks. And then we found out who did it. We sent the kid to prison. He was on the rider program, and he did about 60 days. He gets out. Within a week, our home invasions start again.
Oh, my.
Okay, well, we catch him again, and he told us that it was such a rush, such an adrenaline dump for him, that he couldn't quit doing it. So we got him locked back up. And what they would do, they weren't actually breaking into anywhere. They were finding places that were open, homes that were open, and then entering at nighttime or even entering in the daytime if they found open homes.
Yeah, Jay, this is what's really scary to me. I have a very good friend, and I'm not going to ever mention names on this program, but I had a very good friend that was home and had laid down on the couch at lunchtime just to take a brief nap and then get back to work, and these home invaders came in and were cleaning out his kitchen with the microwave and other items. I mean, we're not even safe in our own homes in broad daylight.
Well, somebody will maybe say that I'm, I don't know, over security minded, but when I'm at home, I keep my doors locked because I've seen this for so many years, and that I just don't trust that somebody wouldn't just walk into my home. I'm home and keep my house locked. It's just the way it is. I don't trust people. You
know, Jay, one of the things that I have said on the air, and I will not back up in any way, shape, or form, I have a permit and I carry. And I'm not bragging, I'm just stating that's the way it is. And the police cannot be all places at the drop of a hat. And with these home invasions, very unfortunately, we've seen some of these altercations with home invasions turn lethal. What would you tell people about this?
You know, it's like when we offer our concealed weapons permit training, we tell people only they can make the determination on whether or not they feel like they are in a shoot situation, or that whether they feel that they're in imminent threat of death or great bodily harm. And we tell people only you can make the decision on where you're at and how you feel when that time comes. Right. These kids, well, I shouldn't say kids, they were young men. They are so very lucky that during these home invasion robberies, they never came in contact with anybody that was in possession of a weapon. I would say they were very lucky young people.
Jay, what about senior citizens? And, I guess now I can call myself a senior, as a matter of fact.
I think I can call myself a senior.
Well, you said about locking your doors, but here you go. You get a knock on your door, and it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, and somebody's standing on your porch, and you look through that little keyhole, and they, I got to have your help. My car's broke down. Can I use your phone? You know something? I've turned into the Grinch that's going to steal Christmas because I'm just saying, tough luck, Charlie. You're not coming in my house to use my phone. What would you tell people like that?
I would tell people. Don't let anybody into your home in the middle of the night. Zeb, I'm sorry, but these days it seems like everybody has access to a cell phone. Even you got people standing in the welfare line, but they still have a cell phone. So I would just tell people, no, you're not coming in my home, and you're not welcome to use my telephone. So.
But, we've got a little keyhole on our door, and believe me, when you turn the porch light on, it encompasses the entire porch. But, so many people are trusting, and so many people want to be good Samaritans, and so many people want to help somebody that might be out of luck and maybe had a car breakdown. But they don't know. They might let one guy in, and all of a sudden there's 3 or 4 outside that are going to try to rush the door, and then you really got problems.
Well, maybe there was a day that you would feel safe doing that, but those days are gone. And I would not open my door in the middle of the night.
What about rural?
I don't know who's knocking.
Right.
Or I have any suspicions.
Right.
I won't open the door. I'll be calling 911.
Yeah. Now, Jay, what about in rural areas? Believe me, when you live on a farm or a ranch, there's so many things that are open, and there's so many things that might be available for people that want to commit a crime or theft or whatever. How can we tighten things up out in the rural area? Because, like I said, you can't be there at the drop of a hat.
Right. I would say lights are a good thing. Lock things up. Do the best you can. Are we going to keep everybody out? No, but we can try.
Okay. And what about, one thing I was going to ask you about the house, everybody wants to have that big Christmas tree in front of the big bay window and all the presents underneath. That's just kind of inviting trouble, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know if I would say that. I think that you could end up having problems with your tree anywhere in your home. If you end up leaving your house unlocked and somebody's out there just going kind of along door to door and seeing what they can find open. Same thing with the vehicles. Lock your car if it's sitting out in front of your home. We have a lot of problems with people going by and, just checking the car, and if it happens to be unlocked, they grab sunglasses, radar detectors, CDs, whatever they can, miscellaneous loose change, any medication that might be in the vehicle. Just go down the street and check for unlocked doors.
Jay, final thought here. It seems like there's a never-ending supply of scams to where people are either calling somebody, they're stopping up by the door to say something. Tell us, what are your thoughts about scams and how we can be more aware of this?
If you get something in the mail or somebody calls you on the telephone and says you've won something, but in order to collect, you have to send a certain amount of money somewhere in order to. That's a scam. You don't have to pay money to get money that you won.
Right.
And there is no get-rich-quick scheme out there, and that's what they are. There's schemes and scams, and we had a situation recently where somebody called an elderly woman from up in central Idaho and said, hey, we've got your grandson here in jail. You need to post his bond, and we'll let him go. And fortunately, they checked it out and found out that, the call was a hoax. But we've had a lot of that, and it's been going on for several years.
Final thought this morning, Jay, and I want to reiterate, it doesn't make any difference if it's Burley, Idaho. It doesn't make any difference if it's Salt Lake City or Jacksonville, Florida, wherever. If you see something that doesn't look right, say something. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. It's probably not right. If your gut tells you something's wrong, well, I would believe your hunch and go with that.
All right. Jay, I want to wish you and the Cassia County Sheriff's Department a very happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, and thank you for being on our program, and we'll have you back again. Thank you for all your help this morning.
Thank you, Deb. Appreciate you.
All right, sir. Take care. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Jay Heward, Cassia County Sheriff. The main thing is, folks, be aware, be cognizant, and just look and study the situation. We have to be much more prepared. The bad guys are out there. And quite frankly, the bad girls are out there too. And boy, when you're shopping and going out to your car, or whether you're pulling into your driveway or whatever, just be aware, please. All right, let's see. Let's pay some bills here real quick. Christmas wishes. Oh, my goodness. Yes, Merry Christmas from Joe Taylor, my buddy at 1826 Overland and Burley with Carrie and Adams Realty. Buying or selling real estate, one call does it all with my friend Joe Taylor. K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 West of Burley. Locally owned and operated, K&R Rental has it all. From air compressors all the way to lawn and garden equipment and forklifts. Whatever you need, K&R has it. And Haskin Insurance Service, nice people over there at 629 Fremont Street in Rupert. Oh my, 436-4141. The folks at Haskin Insurance Service wish you a very Merry Christmas. There you go. It's that time. My goodness, ring that bell again. There you go. Merry Christmas. Also, when you're over on Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley, or Rupert and Hayburn, or Rupert and the World, don't forget to go where the fun is sold, and that is Let's Ride. Holy cow. Now, my neighbor, my good old buddy Kiltman, he came up the other day in the snow, and he had a snowplow on his four-wheeler, and I'm sitting there going, I'm jealous. I want to get one of these snowplows. I'm going to go get one of these snowplows from Let's Ride. Got to do it. He was having a ball. Here it was cold outside and everything, but you could see the great big smile on his face. He was plowing my yard, and I want to have the same fun. So you will not be snowed in. You stop over and check out those snowplows for your four-wheelers at Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, and that is, of course, where the fun is sold. Let's Ride. Really good people over there. In just a few minutes, we're going to have Carrie Kupek on with the Alliance Defending Freedom, and boy, has she got a couple of stories. They're going to raise the hair on the back of your neck this morning. By the way, if you're over on Highway 24, don't forget Cameron and Siemens, and I'm going to choke to death here. Excuse me. Had a little treat during the break. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. All your life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and more, and they are so responsive and dedicated to serving you. Number to call for an appointment, 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, serving you. Really good folks. Let's see what else we got coming up. Like I said, Carrie Kupek with the Alliance Defending Freedom, and then at 10:15 this morning, the new CEO of Minidoka Memorial Hospital, Tom Murphy. And then a lot of people have called in and they said, what time are you going to have Superintendent of Schools, Cassia County Schools on the air, Galen Smyer? It will be at 10:32 this morning. By the way, too, I want to we're so glad to have these folks back on our program. It's been a while. Good to hear from them. And that's Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Oh, my goodness, they've got Santa Claus specials. Santa's already been there, and he dropped off all the things that you want for your Christmas. How about living room sets? How about sectionals? How about bunk beds? How about dining room sets? How about sofas? Your choice, just $5.99. And three-piece occasional tables, your choice, just $1.99. Oh, my goodness, it's all happening at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Jason and the whole crew serving you at 459 Overland and Burley. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Really good folks, really. All right, let's see. Let's go to the phone line right now and say good morning to a lovely lady, and she's probably back where it's a little bit warmer than what it is right here. Carrie Kupek, how are you this morning?
Doing well, Deb. How about yourself?
Well, I got to ask you, are you back in Washington, D.C. this morning?
I am, but I'm flying to Pittsburgh in a couple of hours, so I suspect it's going to be pretty cold there.
Yeah, but I got to tell you right now, let me take a look at my thermometer. It is exactly, oh goody, we're in a heat wave, 7 degrees here, Carrie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I got to hand it to you. You did it again. You managed to come up with two stories that absolutely frosted me. And the first one is about now we're being told what we can and can't do on our own private property, and we may get sued by the gays, lesbians, and transgenders. Tell us about this case that's going on right now back east. I believe, what is it, in New York, isn't it?
That's right, upstate New York, which is mostly farm country. In fact, my grandparents used to live up there, and we used to go up there regularly to see them. And this is a couple named Robert and Cynthia Gifford. They own a farm called Liberty Ridge Farm, fairly close to Albany, and this is a family farm. They've had it for 45 years. Robert and Cynthia have been married for over 30 years, and throughout the duration of their marriage, they've worked on that farm 24/7. I can tell you for a fact, having been there with them, that they love this farm. They love raising their two children on it. They work around the clock. It's their life. Robert built most of the buildings on the farm himself, and somewhere along the line, they decided to open up the farm to families and children for fun fall activities, mainly to supplement their income when the crops weren't bringing in enough money. And they actually even built a barn on the property to live in. And as people came onto their property, they started expressing interest in hosting their weddings there. It's a beautiful piece of land, and so people understandably thought it might be a nice place to have their wedding ceremony and reception. So Robert and Cynthia decided to go forward with that, and Cynthia actually coordinates the wedding through soup to nuts. She does the whole thing, and she and Robert are an essential part of running this marriage, the ceremony and the reception on their property. Robert will even pick up people in the trolley from the parking area and bring them down to the wedding ceremony site, which is essentially in their backyard. And they often host the reception itself on the first floor of the barn they live in. So it's a very, very close, intimate event. Well, a couple of years ago, a woman called up Cynthia, and it became very clear to Cynthia within about, a minute or so into the call that the woman was inquiring about hosting her same-sex wedding on the property. And Cynthia and Robert are Christians, and obviously Christianity is pretty clear about what it teaches about marriage. And so Cynthia said politely that they couldn't host their wedding ceremony on their property, and just to be clear, they host a number of events for people regardless of how they identify. In fact, they really lovingly and faithfully serve everyone who walks into their premises, but however, because of their faith, they draw their line at marriage. And in fact, they will even host same-sex wedding receptions. It's just not the ceremony, since the ceremony is a direct violation of what the Bible teaches. The woman hung up and said, "That's too bad." She was actually secretly recording the phone call. Next thing you know, Robert and Cynthia were being sued, and the local Human Rights Commission or Civil Rights Commission ruled against them. And right now it's up on appeal before a New York appellate court, which is what was just being argued last week. And we will see what happens from there. Although it's interesting, apparently a local news outlet did a poll in the area of upstate New York, and most people supported Robert and Cynthia's freedom to decline to host a ceremony that violates their faith on their own property, which makes sense. But it's even supported by public opinion around them, so we will see what happens.
All right. Now, may I please ask some questions regarding this? And some of them may seem rather naive, but here's the first one. Number one, this is personal, private property. And I am under the assumption that on my personal, private property, if I want to do something, I can do as I wish or not do as I wish. But if the government is going to come in and fine them possibly $10,000 plus $3,000 in damages, what is the difference from the Giffords having this problem as opposed to churches on private property also denying gay marriages?
So what the other side, the opposition will say is, well, this is a place of public accommodation. They've opened their premises, their home for business, therefore they must do all business, which is obviously unconstitutional. Just because you open your door for business doesn't mean you check your face at the door. It doesn't mean you check your First Amendment protections at the door. That's completely not true. And the reality is the same faith that drives the Giffords to lovingly and faithfully serve all people who come onto their premises, and they host events for a variety of people, is the same faith that has them draw the line at marriage. This is completely reasonable, and it should be protected by the First Amendment.
You know, as a small business, I will not hire who I don't want to hire. I will not hire someone that I don't want representing my company. I'm going to adhere to my own standards, and that's just about ready to jump in the Grand Canyon, and we're going to be forced and coerced by the government. We don't have the freedoms anymore, do we, Carrie?
It's really sad because obviously our country was founded upon a very crucial bedrock principle, which is that all Americans should be free to live and work peacefully according to their beliefs. The government was formed to be freedom's greatest protector, not its greatest threat. And the reality is the Giffords and other people like them, they welcome all people to their farm, to their property, to their businesses, but they don't welcome all messages or events. And the reality is the Constitution guarantees that the Giffords and others like them may decline to help communicate messages that conflict with their core beliefs about marriage.
Well, you know, I will say this, and I want to get your response on this, that the gay, lesbian, and transgendered movement in this country is reliant upon stories like this, that they can go, oh, look at us, why, we're being discriminated against, oh, woe is us, just to get the press and the publicity, and it stinks as far as I'm concerned.
It's interesting. The attorney arguing the case, Caleb Dalton, last week, he said, in the courtroom that dignity is a two-way street. You often hear the LGBT community complain about dignity or lack thereof. Well, what about the dignity for those religious people, for those people who want to be able to freely speak without the government punishing them? It's a two-way street. Tolerance is a two-way street. And the reality is the Giffords and others like them are facing incredible religious discrimination and free speech discrimination. And the courts in this country really need to take a good, hard look at that particular issue. Because if that kind of discrimination is allowed, there's no telling where the rest of the First Amendment freedoms are going.
And we as Christians, basically right now, we're being told that it doesn't matter what your beliefs are. It doesn't matter what the Bible says. We're going to stomp on that, and you're going to adhere to our way or it's the highway. Isn't that the truth?
It is. It really is. And it's sad because these freedoms are all interconnected. It's not just about marriage. It's not just about religious freedom. We're talking about freedom generally. When the government is allowed to come in and force any person to violate their faith, to violate their conscience, and force them to promote a message or a sacred ceremony against the very core of who they are, it opens the door for an incredible corruption of what the government can do to any one of us.
Well, now I got to get to story number 2, and boy, I really started to get frosted on this one, and I say Merry Christmas to everybody. And it seems like at the Salem, Virginia VA hospital, Veterans Affairs in Salem, Virginia, you can't do that anymore. What's going on back there?
Right. It's pretty ridiculous that people, especially vets, have to think twice about whether it's okay to celebrate Christmas as Christmas rather than a watered-down winter holiday. This particular hospital, this VA hospital in Salem, Virginia, actually issued a memo recently to its employees and staff there saying that essentially forbidding religious expression, generally speaking, as it relates to Christmas. They even went so far as to forbid putting up a Christmas tree or Christmas trees in the hospital for these vets, because to do so would promote Christianity. Now, I don't recall the last time putting up a Christmas tree was something that promotes Christianity, but even if it does, it's still ridiculous. Now, Now, the hospital has since rescinded that part of the memo, the Christmas tree part, and they issued a new memo. But the new memo is also concerning because it says that the employees are only permitted to engage in private religious expression in their personal work areas that are not regularly open to the public in an effort to extend a quote-unquote happy holiday season in a manner that is welcoming to all. The reality is the wording of this memo actually leaves open the possibility that employees could be punished for Christmas decorations or even saying Merry Christmas to the vets, except in personal workstations that are essentially hidden.
What would happen, Carrie, in regards to VA hospitals or administrative offices, etc., if all of a sudden everybody just said, no, I'm not going to adhere to that, and the vets put up their own Christmas trees at their bedsides or in their offices, and also maybe a nativity scene? I mean, there's got to be some kind of a revolt against this.
Yeah, and I think that the more people complain, the more likely the VA hospital is likely to change their minds. For instance, the reason they rescinded that Christmas tree mandate part of the memo was because people complained. But the reality is what they're doing in banning this kind of speech and banning this kind of religious expression, they're really in serious constitutional violation water. The reality is the Supreme Court itself has said that banning the posting, I'm sorry, not the Supreme Court, but another court had said that the banning of all religious materials and information in all areas of an office building, except in employees' private cubicles, which is what's going on here, is not reasonable. And we sent a letter to the VA hospital saying, look, this email directive you sent to your employees, this is a serious First Amendment right violation. The VA really needs to respond and say, we will respect the rights of our employees and veterans and, be more of a tolerant workplace. It's so sad to me that they would muzzle this kind of expression, especially during the Christmas season. And how sad is that? These are people, people in this hospital are vets. We can think of all they've gone through and all they have done. And the fact that this hospital feels it needs to tell its employees to basically put a muzzle on expressing themselves about Christmas is just, it's kind of unreal.
Carrie, please forgive me for going into another subject that we had not talked about yet this morning, but I feel like with your eloquence you can take care of it. The tragedy that took place and the absolute criminality in Colorado Springs with a man that went on a shooting spree in Colorado Springs, and we really don't even know the rhyme, the reason, or the motives for the attack, but already the left, led by Democratic spokesperson Debbie Wasserman Schultz, is calling you, me, and the rest of us that are conservative and against Planned Parenthood, they're lumping us together as terrorists. What are your thoughts about this?
It's a disgrace to politicize this kind of event, bottom line. Like you said, we have no idea what this man's motives were. Here's what we do know. We know that he was mentally ill. There have been multiple stories reported by multiple outlets, both left-leaning and right-leaning outlets, that clearly paint a picture of someone who was very clearly mentally disturbed. Mentally disturbed people do disturbing things. There is nothing that can stop a mentally ill person from acting out when they choose to do so. It's a very awful thing about mental illness, but it's also the truth. So, and for those people to have died, it's terribly tragic and awful. Now, that's a threshold issue. That being said, to link this mentally ill person's actions to people who have peacefully been protesting and speaking out against the horrific acts of Planned Parenthood is quite disgraceful and really needs to stop. It's quite interesting. I mean, when you think about what they're referring to, you have a number of people across this country who've been very upset about these videos of Planned Parenthood that have shown top-level execs and doctors callously talking about baby parts as if they were car parts. And people have a right to speak about that, to talk about that. They're not to blame. They're doing the right thing by talking about it. them speaking about things has nothing to do with a mentally ill person who commits violent acts. It's a tragedy, but it has nothing to do with what people have been saying and speaking out about. And for anyone to link those two, quite frankly, is disgraceful.
Well, and I'm just so incensed, and I mean that when I say that the left is coming out and they're saying that we, you, me, and others that are against abortion and against the funding of Planned Parenthood, that we had something to do by creating a toxic environment that we created. It's like we all joined hands with this malicious, absolutely mind-desolate terrorist killer, and that we're at fault for what he did. I mean, it's lumping us all together, and the left demonizes anyone that is not on their side.
Absolutely. They don't really want to hear the truth. They see this as an opportunity to shut down healthy, productive dialogue about a very real thing that's going on in our country right now. I'd like to see if they would say the same thing. I think about the civil rights movement, and I think about some of the awful violence that happened during that time. And I think about all the peaceful protesters who were protesting some of the awful laws of subjugation and all those things that we instituted against African Americans in this country. And would they lump those people together? Of course not. The people at that time, Martin Luther King Jr., he had every right to be peacefully protesting against some of the very strong evils in our society at that time. If not for him, where would we be now? Now, people who acted violently at the time, of course, that wasn't something that was good. But essentially, what the left is doing now is putting them all together and saying, you know what? We just want you to ignore something that's going on right in front of your faces, and if anything violent happens, that's done by someone, say, who's mentally ill or someone who's a terrorist or whatever, we're going to blame you. That's ridiculous. It's not even rational. And again, it's quite disgraceful that they would use this opportunity to essentially attempt to shut down speech about a very real activity going on in our country right now.
Absolutely. Carrie Kupek, you are the best. Legal Communications Director for the Alliance Defending Freedom. And would you please tell everybody how they can follow our stories this morning and also help possibly in the funding of Alliance Defending Freedom?
So you can go to adflegal.org.
All right. Carrie, God bless you. And by the way, let me get my bell here. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, too.
All right. Thank you so much. A wonderful lady right there, Carrie Kupek, Legal Communications Director for the Alliance Defending Freedom. She tells it like it is, and we love having her on the program. Thank you very much. Earlier, about last half hour, we were talking to the Cache County Sheriff, Jay Heward, and I'm very forthright and honest about this, that we have to be responsible for our own safety right up front. The police and the Sheriff's Department cannot possibly be there in the wink of an eye or a split second. We have to be cognizant. We have to be careful. And I urge you to go to Red's Trading Post at 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls and learn about the different firearms, learn about different safety courses, and check them out. From Browning, Beretta, Weatherby, Ruger, Benelli, Smith & Wesson, and Winchester, and all the ammo and all the accessories, please be cognizant of what's going on out there, folks. And they at Red's Trading Post can help. Wonderful staff. They've been in historic Old Town Twin Falls since 1936. Absolutely the best. Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. Holy smokes, it's time for the weather. And the weather is brought to you by Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service. And the numbers to call, 438-2485 or 431-8733. All your tree trimming and pruning and removal of tree limbs and emergency work. And oh my goodness, they can get the job done. Oh, by the way, Scott's got a brand new curbing machine too. So if you want a new curber on your property, yep, you know who to call. Scott Gano, Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service. And now here's Gina with the weather.
Looks Looks like foggy for this morning. Afternoon sunshine. Winds out of the west right around 5 miles an hour. And yes, it's going to be cold. High of 20. Tonight low of 4. Tomorrow mostly sunny and 24. And partly cloudy and 33 for Wednesday. That's your weather for 7th Ranch.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Gina. Brought to you by Gano Landscaping and Sprinkler Service. Numbers to call 438-2485 or 431-8733. I have a question, and I really would like somebody to give me an answer on this, okay? I live on Highway 30, and up the road about maybe 500 yards, there is an LDS church on Highway 30, and from that point, going west after the snowstorm, the road was absolutely clear as a summertime drive. No snow, no ice, perfect driving conditions. But why east, back this way, was the road absolutely the armpit from hell? Why wasn't that addressed? Why wasn't that taken care of? On Thanksgiving, it was absolutely ridiculous trying to get to a Thanksgiving gathering on a road that had not been taken care of, not even addressed. And as of this complaint right now on the air this morning, it's lousy. And my wife and I were talking last night. It's absolutely amazing that somebody hasn't slid right into our front yard, right through the front of our big bay window, or quite frankly, taken out my arena. So how could you have the state highway be perfect? I mean, perfect. Headed west to Twin Falls area, but from the LDS church heading east, the absolute worst road I've ever seen in the wintertime for driving. Who dropped the ball? Who didn't even try to pick up the ball? And why was it not taken care of? Somebody's got to call me and let me know about that. And I don't want silly, stupid, frivolous excuses like, well, we did the best we could. That doesn't cut it. No, you did not do the best you could. You didn't do anything. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. It's amazing, when I turned right and I had to go to church yesterday, I didn't need the four-wheel drive on my pickup. No, it was perfect dry conditions. But the minute you get this way, I had to lock that doggone puppy into four-wheel drive just to make sure I'd slow down by my driveway. Why? Why can't they take care of the road? And why is there such a vast difference of maintaining a state highway? It was terrible. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Sounds like they're trying to save bits on the blades, as they just put them down a little bit the first time around and knock all that off, we wouldn't have near the problem.
I can guarantee you right now, as I'm speaking, there's a truck going by. I can hear it, and he's really going slow because of the icy and snowy conditions. And like I said, 500 yards up the road, it's as dry as July.
I was in Twin on Saturday, and I came back that way. I understand completely.
Okay, but tell me why. Why is this happening, and who do we have to yell at, and who's not doing their job?
Well, back there's highway. That goes to the state, so I don't know. State yard.
Well, let's see what this next caller's got. And I'm glad you called because you saw it exactly like I did. And thank you very much for your call. I appreciate it. Thank you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
I can barely hear you, but I'll just state, if anybody has complaints, call up there to the State House and tell them they've cut so many things and many people. There's not enough arms and legs to get out there and drive and cover like they need to. It's yeah.
Well, It's absolutely terrible. Thank you very much for your call. I couldn't believe it. My dear friend Kiltman called me up and he says, yeah, but Zeb, you're not going to believe it. Just 500 yards up the road is honestly just like July driving. Not a speck of ice, not a speck of snow. And this is a skating rink. And who's not doing their job? Why isn't the job being done? Safety should be an issue. And why in the world can't it be done headed east on Highway 30? Who dropped the ball or didn't even pick it up? And I don't want to have complaints about, we're overstrapped in our finances and everything. It looks like the State Highway Department going west did a super job. What about headed east? Huh? Answer that. It's absolutely terrible. It took me 55 minutes, an hour on Thanksgiving Day to get to our friends that only live 2 miles south of Burley. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, Zap.
Yes, sir.
Hey, the road from Kasota exit to Minidoka, Idaho is no different. They worked on the interstate, got it all salted and nice, but we're 35 miles an hour from the Kasota exit to Minidoka.
Well, I was lucky if I could
bitch out, but I'd like to bitch at somebody.
I don't blame you at all, my dear friend. God bless you. It's good to hear from you. Appreciate it. All right, buddy. Yeah, this is ridiculous. I mean, 35 miles an hour would have been pleasant. There were certain parts of that thing we couldn't get over 15 miles an hour. Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. You're listening to Zeb at the Ranch. Now you know who to complain at. Go ahead, road crew. And make sure you're hearing everything. Contact Mount Harrison Audiology for a hearing screening. Call 312-0957. We're going to take a little break for the news. I'll be back in about 6 minutes. Oh, my. Good morning. Welcome to hour number 3. It's a cold day out there. I'm getting old, I guess, and it just kind of stays in my bones. And right now, my little thermometer right here is telling me 8 degrees. I mean, come on. Are you serious? 8 degrees? Arizona beckons. Believe me. Welcome to Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, and all our great advertisers like Western Waste Services. Always at your disposal. Call them. Get on the route service. Get rid of your garbage. 734-6969. Wonderful people. By the way, do you know what's going on at the Chadwick Sports Grill today? We just got the menu for Monday, and they're going to I love these. Oh, listen to this. This just makes me hungry. Pulled pork tacos with sauteed onions and peppers and pepper jack cheese. Make you sit up and say howdy. And served with cabbage slaw and super salad. Oh, doesn't that sound good? Pulled pork tacos with sauteed onions and peppers and pepper jack cheese. Come in. I'll be right there. Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Whew, that sounds delicious. Good morning, everybody. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Want to remind you and go back to a little bit about what we talked with Jay with our being safe at home and what to do and what not to do. Jay Heward, Cache County Sheriff. You know, I can't stress enough, whether you are elderly, whether you are a young mom with kids and you're trying to go to the store and you're so harried and you're in a hurry to get home and you got a basket load of goodies and everything, or whether you're just some guy that's parked way out in the outer reaches of the parking lot, that's all you could find. Be careful. Be absolutely careful about what's around you and who may be watching you. And, you know, going back to what we were saying about going home, you know, if you got a whole bunch of stuff that you've loaded into your pick-em-up truck or your car or whatever in the Christmas spirit, and you're driving home and all of a sudden you notice there's a set of headlights that it just doesn't jive, don't go home. go pull right up in front of the sheriff's office, and maybe they'll drive right on by. You never know. But anyway, be careful out there. Take the time to be more than safe. Take the time to be more than observant. And please be careful out there, please. Quick note here. You and I probably share the same opinion that a lot of these colleges and universities across the United States, they need to basically, the presidents and chancellors need to sit back in their great big soft chairs behind their great big wooden desks, and they need to tell these punks, they need to tell these wet behind the ear students that are trying to cause racism and all kinds of damage, shut up, or you're going to be expelled. You know, the University of Oklahoma, they had a bunch of these so-called racist lefties saying, well, we're not getting this, we're not getting treated fairly, we're not getting that, why, we demand this. Well, the president of the school acted very quickly, and he acted very swiftly. And he basically told them to get into his office, and we're going to talk about this. We're going to come up with some concrete answers. And if you don't, you're going to be expelled. I love it. These prima donnas, these worthless troublemakers, they need to be expelled or they need to be held accountable. All right, you got a complaint? Come on in my office, we'll talk it over. We'll see if it's legitimate. Come on in my office and we'll see if there's a problem. Come on in my office and we'll see if there's really racism. Come on in my office, we'll discuss it. And they diffused the problem in a heartbeat. What happened at the University of Missouri, by letting these punks and thugs and the Black Lives Matter just absolutely rail and get out of hand, was the University of Missouri's fault. And they should have come down on these kids in a hurry. You got a problem? Okay, let's sit down and discuss it. What's your problem? Okay, list your grievances. All right, we'll take a look at them, and we'll go from 1 to 32 or how many ever you got. And if they don't hold any water, get out of here. Shut up, or you're going to be expelled and working at a gas station in the next couple of weeks. That's what needs to happen. These punks and thugs are disrupting education for people that want to study. Look at what happened at Dartmouth University. Black Lives Matter, no more than any other life. Coming into the library and disrupting all the students and absolutely making a mockery out of higher education. It's got to be stopped, and it needs to be stopped right now. Don't cater or cave in to the Black Lives Matter or any other group. Okay, I feel better now. It's also time I want to remind you about on Thursdays, we have a segment on our program that is Cassia County School Days, and I'm very, very blessed to have two wonderful sponsors of that event, A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, where they literally have hundreds and hundreds of new toys and games and puzzles that will entertain and educate. And plus the fact that all the gifts are gift wrapped free. So stop in and check it out today at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. And also Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. For all your outpatient surgery procedures, you can save a lot of money at the Ambulatory Surgery Center. So please give them a call today at 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center and A Child's World, bringing you school days in Cassia County. Oh, my goodness. And I do apologize for this throat time of the year. I guess maybe it's with the cold air and the dry air and with the pellet stove going 100 miles an hour. It can't be our Christmas tree because that's a fake Christmas tree. I was going to blame it on the tree, but I can't do that. Calls are welcome, 436-2244-1866-927-4587. Give me a jingle on the landline. I think what we'll do, we'll start just a tad early here. And Old Wheels has probably got him on the air and ready to go. But we're going to go to our segment for the Minidoka Memorial Hospital at 1224 8th Street in Rupert. And the number to call, general information number, 436-0481. You know, your health is so important. You want to work with the best that really, really care. And that's the great friends and neighbors at Minidoka Memorial Hospital. Their vision of Minidoka Memorial Hospital is an independent community hospital dedicated to improving the health and well-being of the Mini-Cassia area. And so right now this morning, we're very fortunate to have the new CEO of Minidoka Memorial Hospital, and his name is Tom Murphy. Tom, are you there? Good morning. Enter and sign in, please.
I'm here. How are you doing this morning?
I'm great. My goodness, how many days have you been on the job over there at Minidoka Memorial?
Well, this will be my third Monday.
And
still getting oriented.
All right. Now, you're still getting oriented. You've still got a lot of people. You're still organizing all the paper clips in your desk, etc. What are your main duties as the new CEO?
Well, everything's my fault, good and bad, right? So, yeah, I mean, our organization here is, we have an appointed board of trustees, and I report to them and make sure that the day-to-day operations of the entire hospital or clinic and our extended care facility are running the way they should.
Okay. Now, you don't mind if I call you Tom, or do I have to refer to you as Mr. Murphy, CEO? You tell me.
Mr. Murphy seems odd, so let's go with Tom.
All right, Tom.
Great.
You know, to get in a position of being a CEO, honestly, what kind of hoops did you have to jump through all your life to get into that elevated position to run a hospital?
Well, lots and lots of education. I got my bachelor's degree from the University of Utah, and after that, a few years later, I went back to Utah State and got a master's in business administration to have enough education behind me. And that's only part of the story. The rest of it is working hard and taking advantage of opportunities that are set before you to have leadership roles, and then you've got to be successful in those leadership roles, or you don't go anywhere either. So a lot of time in the trenches, being humble and working hard and doing your best every day. I've been in healthcare for, I hate to say it, about 22 years. So been doing this a while.
Okay. Now, when you started, you said about 22 years ago, did you have any idea, was that your aspiration to become a CEO of a hospital?
Well, it was something I thought that I might be interested in someday. But did I ever envision I'd be here running a small hospital, a rural hospital in Idaho? I don't know that I envisioned that, but I love it. You know, this is a great fit for me. An outgoing social person. I love being in a leadership role and working with people, building relationships with our staff and our physicians and the community. These rural communities in Idaho in general. I'm from Idaho, born and raised in Idaho, so to have the privilege to raise my family here is really exciting, and I just can't see myself living anywhere else. So I don't know that I envisioned this way back when in school in Utah, but I'm sure glad I've ended up here.
You know, I would imagine, and I've never been a CEO of a hospital, but I would imagine it's true with almost any business. You are appointed the job, you go to your office desk, and the powers that be say, "Welcome to the family, Tom," and dump all the files on your lap. How in the world do you get acclimated to figure out what's going on?
Well, I've spent a lot of time the last couple of weeks going around to each department, seeing how they're doing. You know, it's my job to make sure that good people here have the resources they need to do their job, to take good care of the community, our patients. And so I really see it as my responsibility to make sure everybody has the tools, the staff, the equipment the resources that they need to succeed in their roles. And so I hate to say it doesn't all get dropped on my lap, but I will absolutely take accountability for what goes well and what doesn't go well. And in any business, you've got problems every day you got to solve. And but I don't do this alone. This is very much a team effort, and we've got excellent folks here so far that I've met. I'm very impressed with the team we have here. And it's my job to make sure they can do what they do best.
Let me ask you this question. You know, now Minidoka Memorial would be considered by many a small hospital. But are the challenges of running a small hospital the same as running a big hospital, whether it's in New York or Florida or wherever? Are they basically the same?
Well, I've heard this analysis, and I think it's pretty accurate. You can compare a big hospital to a grandfather clock, and a small hospital to a pocket watch. They all have the same number of gears and mechanisms running inside. One is a little bit different scale than the other. So do we have any fewer issues or challenges here because we're smaller? I don't think so. In fact, I think running the smaller rural hospitals a lot of times can be a lot more difficult than running the larger bigger organizations. You end up with folks wearing a lot more hats, taking on more roles than what you would normally see in a larger organization. Somebody might specialize in one role and just do that job. Here you've got folks that have got to do 2 or 3 different jobs at once.
Right.
So it becomes a lot more challenging. You have to have a lot broader scope in your work than you do in the larger organizations. So I think they're different. I don't know that the one is easier than the other, but they're different.
Tom, is there an area of expertise that you excel at more than other areas, and so you've got to brush up on certain things so that you can be the be-all, catch-all to the problems? I mean, that's not easy being kind of the godfather to the whole thing, is it?
That's right. My background early on in my career focused on information technology and finance. At Intermountain Healthcare in Salt Lake City, I worked in their information systems for their medical group, and later kind of grew into the finance area. When I first started in Weiser 9 years ago, I was the chief financial officer, so a lot of my background is financial and information technology. And I've gravitated towards the CEO role because I love interacting with people more, being more social and building those relationships. The areas here where I have to depend on my experts that are here more than maybe some other areas is the extended care. I've not had a lot of experience in nursing home rehab or extended care facilities, but we've got an excellent administrator here that takes good care of that. So yeah, there are areas where I have to depend on really good people to help fill in the gap where I don't have as much knowledge and experience. And you just build that experience 1 year at a time, and it takes time to get there.
I would imagine, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I would imagine finance, getting the money to get the job done, is in essence a lot tougher for a smaller hospital than it is a larger one. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, you're correct. There's, in the smaller hospitals, they tend to do a lot better if they can do $35-40 million in revenue a year. Below that, it's really hard to make a large enough margin to recapitalize, to be able to do the things you need to do to your building and to buy the equipment you need. And so Minidoka is just kind of on that tipping point of doing enough revenue every year to really be able to recapitalize itself. The Critical Access Hospital Program, that's a designation from Medicare, really makes it possible for these small hospitals to be financially viable. Without that program with Medicare, you'd lose several hospitals in the United States that just would not be able to cash flow their business and stay open. So there's some critical programs out there that really help us continue to stay viable. And most of the hospitals in our nation are small, rural, critical access hospitals. So we're a vital part of our nation's healthcare.
I would imagine, Tom, that with the ever-changing health status of different programs, the cost factors of trying to maintain and operate different cost factors, you go to your office every day, and what you figured was going to be a done deal yesterday could be right on front of the table again today. It might be a bigger problem today than it was yesterday, trying to figure out where to get the money. Am I right or wrong?
You're right, and we consider long-term planning in healthcare to be about 3 years, because you just don't know what the future is really going to hold much beyond that. So planning, out ahead of that can be very risky because reimbursement and payment models might change in the next couple of years. Trying to make those long-term plans becomes very, very difficult. 5 years is about as far out as we dare look and make decisions, because we do want to be able to stay nimble and be able to respond to things that may be changing as the healthcare environment changes very fast.
We have a caller with a question, Tom. Quickly, caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Yes, I would like to know the difference between a hospital administrator and a CEO.
All right, we'll have him answer that on the air. Thank you, Tom. What is the difference between a hospital administrator and a CEO?
Well, honestly, I don't think there's much difference at all. The CEO, Chief Executive Officer, is just a title for who's the guy in charge of the hospital. Administrator is the same thing. This is, I think they are interchangeable. Some organizations will use administrator if they have more than one hospital. They'll use administrator for the hospital on-site administrator, and then a CEO is the person that's over those multiple hospitals. Here, where we're independent and it's just Minidoka, I am considered the CEO.
Okay. Last thought on this, Tom. Evidently, if you're like me, I'm goal-oriented, and I always have set of goals that I want to accomplish, whether it's on a weekly basis or a yearly basis. When you took this job as CEO of Minidoka Memorial Hospital, did you have a specific goal?
Yes. Well, I have several goals. A couple, my short-term goals are really to get to know the organization and find out what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses, what are some things that we really need to work on in the next 1, 2, and 3 years. I'm lucky and very fortunate to come into this situation. This hospital has been well ran, excellent quality, great staff, and I really want to sustain that and then look at what do we need to do to continue to improve, to do the best job we can to take good care of our community.
And you're going to have an open house where you're going to be sitting on a big chair in the middle of the room, and hundreds of people are going to come in next Wednesday, December 9th, and they're going to shake your hand, right?
That's right. Hopefully I'll be standing up shaking hands as well. No chair in the middle.
Okay. Hey, God bless you, man. It's good to have you on the program. New CEO of Minidoka Memorial Hospital, Tom Murphy. Tom, we wish you the best, and thank you for coming on the program.
You bet. Thank you, Zeb.
You bet. Take care. Minidoka Memorial Hospital at 1224 8th Street in Rupert. Number to call, general information number 436-0481. Your health is so important. Please work with the best that really care. Your friends at Minidoka Memorial Hospital. Let's see real quick. I've got to get another good word in here, and we've got Merry Christmas wishes from Clark's for Shopping at 100 East Main Street in Oakley. Oh my goodness, have you had that famous breakfast sausage from Grandma's recipe over at Clark's for Shopping? You can get it in bulk or patties or links. It's made right there in the store, and it's delicious. Merry Christmas from Clark's for Shopping in Oakley. And Riverview Urgent Care, these are wonderful people at 382 North Overland in Burley and 133 West Avenue A in Jerome, and coming to Twin Falls soon. Kyle and the entire entire crew wish you a very, very Merry Christmas. As does our dear friend, Scott Gano. Yes, sirree, Bob, at 336 South, 450 west of Heyburn. Scott and his crew wish everybody a very safe and Merry Christmas. Don't forget, for all your landscaping needs, Scott Gano. There you go. Nice people. Merry Christmas. We are going to take a little break in just a moment. I want to remind you again about Denny's Old-Fashioned Christmas. Merry Christmas, December 16th. That's going to be on a Wednesday in a couple of weeks, and we'll be broadcasting over there live. Zeb at the Ranch from 8 to 11 at Denny's Restaurant on the 16th. We're going to have Christmas carolers with the Burley High School Choir. We're going to have door prizes. Santa Claus is going to be there. Loot in the boot to help needy families. Don't you miss it, okay? Right now, let's send it back over to Wheels at our main studio.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you very much, and welcome back to our last half hour. And right now, we're going to go to the phone lines, and I'm very honored to have the superintendent of schools for the Cassia County School District, a friend of mine for many, many years, Galen Smyer. Good morning, Galen. How are you?
Doing well, Zeb, and how are you? I hope you had a good holiday.
And the same right back at you. It was wonderful. Of course, you know, when you put a piece of pecan pie and all that turkey in front of me, the added calories were something I didn't really need.
Well, it's fun to be able to splurge and get together with family and friends, and so it's a great time of year.
Absolutely. Galen, I asked you to come on the program this morning, and this man has very readily consented to be very forthright and honest about a situation that has caused a lot of problems in the Cassia County School with a shortfall on a building bond issue that, quite frankly, is about 30 to 40% short, or in money terms, approximately $15 million short. Galen, give us a synopsis of what happened and how.
Well, to really explain this, Zeb, I need to go back through the process a bit that resulted in the bond being passed. As you know, that we had community representatives from each of the communities of Malda, Declo, Burley, and Oakley that worked with school officials and worked with the architect to try to develop a list of projects to be considered for a bond. And then as that list was developed, then that came before the board, and the board looked at that and made some minor additions, but essentially what was proposed from the communities came to the board and was adopted and put forward as a bond. As those communities were working with the architect, the costs for each of those projects was being developed. And the board was involved that they were allocating or setting a budget based on those estimates for each of those communities. So then you fast forward to March 2015, and the bond was passed. And from that point, we immediately went to work with the architect and others in planning what those buildings, actually the creating the drawings and things that would be necessary to put things out for bid. And during that process, one of the first projects that came online was the White Pine student drop-off. Well, it came in within budget, so we're thinking life is good. And the next thing that they worked on was the Oakley Ag Building. Well, what the community had designed was actually a little bit more than their budget was, but with some donations, they were be able to bring that building in at budget. And the same story with the Raft River Ag Building, with some donations came in at budget. So we're clipping along and thinking that things are good. The Raft River High School, when it was first proposed, was going to be a standalone new building. And we had the geotech go out and take some samples, and with some more eyes looking at that building, and the community's reticence to really walk away from their auditorium and library that were very functional. They wanted to explore the possibility of gutting the middle part of the building and then adding on the new sections and then tying that all back together so that they could continue to use some of those facilities. And so when that happened, the drawings that were previously for the standalone had to be modified to incorporate part of the old facility. And in so doing, it pushed back the timeline for getting those drawings and everything put together to go out to bid. So that was hoped to be done in September so that we could start construction in October. Well, it's still in the drawing phases. Mm-hmm. But knowing that the architect was focused on that rafter building, and the estimates are that it was going to come in at budget, then the board realized that we're going to need some extra help. So they brought in an architectural firm out of Boise, LKV Architects, and said, we're going to have you folks design the new Burley Elementary and the replacement Declo Elementary. And so they started going out and meeting with the communities and identifying all the needs, and they came back and said, just a couple of weeks ago, and come back and said, for everything that we need to plug into these buildings, well, there is insufficient budget there. And so we took that under advisement, and then at that point went back through with another set of eyes with our construction manager, building our general contractor, and started going through the cost estimates that had been allocated for the remaining projects. And it was at that point that we determined that the bond is going to be short to be able to deliver what was proposed in the bond election in March.
Galen, we have a call, and I'll take that caller, but keep your questions as short as possible. Go ahead. I've got a lot to get in here. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Yes, this is Keith Cottom calling, and I'm calling in behalf of Dr. Galen Swire, who I served 12 years as a commissioner on the Burley Highway District, which he was chairman. And I find that his integrity and honesty is beyond reproach. And I pray that the people in Cassia School District will get behind him and take his word for what he said, because he is the real deal.
All right, sir. I appreciate that call. Thank you very much. Galen, vote of support for you and your leadership in the school district. But I guess the next question, and you've been so forthright about this, is, let's face it, architect Hal Jensen of Pocatello, a $15 million shortfall. How? I mean, this man's a professional. How do you make that kind of a mistake?
We don't have an answer for that, Zeb. They're just... We can't explain it. Some things came in on budget, and other things, when we got to looking at it, and clearly it was LKV coming in and identifying the shortfall. I guess if there is a good thing that it happened early on, that we weren't part way through a number of projects and realized that we're going to have to shorten a bunch of things. We're at a point now where we can make some informed decisions. Essentially, the board's looking at, do we just build within the money that we've got? Do we go back and ask the voters for additional money, or some combination of the two? And that's still being sorted out, but it appears that the best estimates that we can have now are that to do everything as was proposed would be a $15 million additional ask from the taxpayer.
All right, we have another caller with a question. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air, please.
Dr. Smyers, I understand from one of the landowners that you have not settled totally on one of the pieces of property where the Burley Junior High is going to be built. Would you address that, please?
The Burley Junior High, we were adding classrooms at Burley Junior High. I think what you're referring to is probably the new Burley Elementary. And the school district owns two different pieces of property. But the piece of property we own is on Park Avenue south of 27th Street, about a quarter of a mile south. And the ground that the Hunt family owns, which is north of us, adjoins both Park Avenue and 27th Street. And so we have been exploring the possibility that if we could purchase that property or trade our existing land and pay some difference, that would be a more ideal siting for that school, because it would give us an approach off of both 27th and Park Avenue, so we could split our traffic. So that is true. We've had those conversations, but it appears that we're going to need to continue to utilize the property that we've purchased previously.
All right, we have another caller. Caller, please, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yes, a quick comment and then a quick question. As a taxpayer, I'm a little disturbed that we could be off by $15 million. That should not happen ever. My question is, why did you rely on a single firm to give you those estimates? As an ordinary man, I know better than to do that. I would have gotten several estimates, at least 3. I'd like an answer to that question. Thank you.
Galen, please go ahead.
We've worked with this firm for years, since 2007. That firm was working with the district when the previous 3 bonds were proposed. And the cost estimates were just developed along the way, utilizing that individual's expertise and that of his cadre of electrical and mechanical and structural engineers that he consulted along the way in building the costs. And so we didn't have any reason to believe that there was any need for other to get other estimates, because working with a firm, once you identify the firm, that's typical practice that they would be the ones that help develop the budget or would develop the budget.
Galen, is it safe to say that these were the professionals, his firm, Mr. Jensen's firm, and they are professionals at what they do? And I'm certainly not trying to denigrate anybody, but members of a school district and or even yourself as a superintendent, you really don't have the expertise in trying to figure or disseminate the information to see whether there's a shortfall or not, do you?
Well, it would have been very difficult for me personally. We could have, in hindsight, Zeb, gone out and made some additional inquiries, but again, we didn't have any reason to think that we needed to. The firm that we were working with had ongoing projects, so they had current building prices in construction, and so extrapolated those forward in making their estimates. It's just somewhere along the line, things were misestimated or underestimated, and we realized that, and now we're in a difficult position. When the 2011 bond failed, one of the concerns was that it was too much money and that the other bond had not yet paid off. And so when we came back in 2014 in anticipation of the 2015 election, one of the things that board members said was let's take one Burley Elementary off the list, and let's also take the Declo practice gymnasium off the list. So when we did that, and then the numbers came in at about $37 million, and you think that, we'd went from 44, and we subtracted those 2 projects, it just seemed like everything was kind of coming in where the numbers should have been, but we've come to find out that was not the case.
All right, we have a call with another question. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air, please. Go ahead, caller. Quickly, go, please.
Mr. Smyer, before I say anything, is this the same bond that we had to vote 3 times on?
It is. It is the same bond.
I wrote an op-ed piece for the Times News that they printed, and I'm really upset about this. I just got my tax assessment, and the school board drug us to the polls 3 different times to get this thing passed, and I don't even know how it got passed. And now you're telling us you're way short. Wouldn't no once or twice have been enough?
Well, to that point, eventually there are needs that are eventually going to have to be addressed. And so the timing of that is critical. And the board was sensitive to the fact that until the other bond got paid down, to add anything to it would be a tax increase that may not be acceptable to the community. And so the timing of this bond was such as the 1996 bond paid down and paid off. The last payment actually comes in 2016, but as that pays off, then we were able to dovetail the new bond proposal on the tail end of that, so it minimized the tax increase.
Galen, is it fair in my assessment in saying this, that with education and ever-changing environment and a increase in numbers, that there has to be a look at a bond for better environment to teach our kids? Is that true?
It is, and that's the Idaho legislature put this into place. This is the way schools are funded. For the construction of new schools, it's a school construction bond that requires a 2/3 majority vote of the voters to approve collecting taxes for school construction. And so, yes, at intervals along the way, new buildings are going to have to be built, and repairs and remodels are going to have to be made to other buildings. And so at points in time, it becomes necessary and essential to build new buildings. And, of course, as our student population grows, then additional classrooms and things are required. And in our community, we've got, particularly in the city of Burley, we've got about 15 portable classrooms that we've located outside the buildings that have been used to house students temporarily, and we thought temporarily, but they've become more permanent than we would like, and it's not an ideal situation.
All right, we've got about 6 minutes left in this segment, and we have one more call. Caller, real fast. Go, please.
Hello, Zeb.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Zeb, I'd like to ask Mr. Smyer if they have so much confidence in this Jensen guy, the architect, just the simple fact that they have used him 2 or 3 prior times looks to me like it gives him a good opportunity to come back and trying to do some pretty good. In fact, I think that's what he's done. And for our board to okay something like that and believe in something like that, in my opinion, is stupidity. And now my other question, Zeb, is when I read the paper and watch TV about this school bond and the people who are supposed to be running it, they always have a spokesman on there instead of the school board chairman. Is our board chairman not qualified to let the people know what is going on, that they got to go out and hire a spokesperson to do that? Now, that's my question, and thank you for taking it.
All right. Galen, if you'd respond, please.
Well, at the most recent board meeting, the board chair did address this particular issue, and the media was there and picked up on that. And we do have a spokesperson that addresses a lot of the public information that goes out from the district, and that's not uncommon. The board chairman, when they meet as a board, then he's the chairman of the board and can relay the board's wishes and thoughts But otherwise, he's an individual, and yes, he's very capable and qualified. It's just we try for consistency purposes to make sure we've got a consistent message going out to all of the media and to the community so that people understand what the district's position is.
Galen, I'm really not in favor of ending this conversation, but you know I have commitments with my advertisers and sponsors, so I've got one more minute left. Basically, the options are very simple. Either have another bond election or basically not have anything for improvements. Am I wrong?
Well, we would be able to move forward and do what we could with the $36.95 million, Zeb. But if there will not be additional money coming in, then the board would have to, those funds would have to be prioritized. And certainly there was a commitment from the board's part that each community would get the amount of money that was allocated to it. The problem is that now that money is not going to go as far as we were led to believe.
Now, on the next meeting, December 16th, isn't that the next meeting time where it's going to be open for the public to ask questions? Please explain that.
That's the next regularly scheduled board meeting. Typically we would meet, but it would be right next to Christmas, so the board moved their meeting to the 16th. So their regular December meeting will be on December 16th at 7 p.m. in the school district, in the boardroom at the school district office south of Burley. And so, yes, the public would be welcome to come to that, and there may be other open meetings prior to that meeting where the board's taking input and other information. Well, you just have to watch for postings for those things.
All right. I want to say how much I appreciate your coming on the air. Now, if people do have questions, real fast, Galen, I'm completely out of time. Can they call the school office and ask more questions that we didn't have time for this morning?
They could, 878-6600.
All right. Superintendent of
School questions as best we can, and if we get a number of questions that are similar, then we can probably put something out in a press release and put it in the paper so that everybody could see what questions are being asked and what the answers are.
All right. Superintendent of Schools for Cassia County, Galen Smyer. Galen, thank you so much. I'm so sorry I'm out of time. God's blessings, and we'll keep in touch. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Zab, and we'll get together again one of these days.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Take care.
I appreciate his honesty and his candor, and we're going to have him back on the air in the next couple of weeks after that December 16th meeting. Right now, I'm so late. I've got to get the weather in by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. Over in Jerome, your hometown meat cutter for the entire valley, Scarro's Meats. Here's Gina with the weather.
Looks like foggy for this morning. Afternoon sunshine. Winds out of the west right around 5 miles an hour. And yes, it's going to be cold. High of 20. Tonight low of 4. Tomorrow mostly sunny and 24. And partly cloudy and 33 for Wednesday. That's your weather for 7th Ranch.
I appreciate it, Gina. Brought to you by Don Scarrow and the crew at Scarro's Meats. 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657. Oh, boy, they are changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. Don't forget to our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, with all the traction tires to get you through the mud, the snow, and the slush and everything else. I'll tell you, they've got all your traction tires, all your studded tires, all your tire chains, all your snow wheels. My goodness, they're ready to make sure you've got safe driving this winter. And the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, along with batteries. Lots of batteries to make sure that four-wheeled wonder is going to turn over and start that engine for you to get to work. All of this and more with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. Yep, the best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You know, you've been listening to Zeb at the Ranch. Make sure you're hearing everything. Contact Mount Harrison Audiology for a hearing screening. Call them at 312-0957 today. Tomorrow on the program, lots of interesting interesting guests, including Dr. History segment at 10:06. Don't miss a minute of it right here on Zabbath Ranch. Tune in at 8:06 tomorrow morning. We'll ride the horse for 3 hours. God bless you and your family, and remember, the way things were are the way things ought to be.